And if you don't know me, my name's Donald. I run Freddy's. Freddy's is one of the best bars on the planet, and is we're under threat of being destroyed by the Atlantic Yards project. It's coming in via Bruce Ratner, and his. We really thought it was we had the idea in response, the overwhelming response from patrons saying that they will chain themselves to this bar if Ratner tries to take it. That I said, well, why don't we do something about that? What are they going to chain themselves to? You know, what, a chair or what? So I was like, hey, let's put in some chains. Let's have something for them to actually chain themselves to. So I love that idea. I also think it's a great metaphor for the links of the chain being basically the individuals in the community that alone really can't do much, but linked together, they're strong as hell. So I like the idea of it as a metaphor, and also, if push comes to shove, we actually have something to chain ourselves to. Basically, you know, and we're showing it in support of the neighborhood and of Develop, Don't Destroy Brooklyn, and these people have been absolutely astounding. I've been so impressed, blown away by the way this community has responded to stuff. I'm an artist. I don't barely know how to get out of my room. And what I've watched these people do is astounding. So I'm more than willing to take questions. Some of the more specific ones, like if you want to talk about the recent discovery that these bonds that were sold this last week, which terrified us, looked like they might lead to some accusation of fraud on the development corporation, and that these bonds basically might be worthless. So we may actually have a really good fight here going on. We may actually be in some serious trouble. But I'm more than willing to take any questions. If anybody has anything specific they want to ask. If not, we can pretty much. Can we drink them? How much are drinks? Good question. I tell you what they are. The first round is on the house. That's for sure. After that, they're cheap as hell. Cheap as hell. Always will be until they, you know, make us pay like $20,000 a month in rent. But basically, if you want, we'll start stringing these chains up. Okay, we can pass through here and grab some stuff.
Are you prepared to chain yourself to the bar?
Pending discussions with my wife, yes.
Freddy's is a Prohibition-era bar. I forget what magazine said it, but they said that Freddy's is probably the most important cultural hub in Brooklyn. We're fundamentally just a bar, but we're a community-oriented bar. We have a back room. We do some of the Village Voice said we have probably the most original programming in New York City. We've got a lot of really wonderful and strange creative things here. There's no cover charge. We have cheap drinks. You know, we support the arts. We support the community. It's the idea of an old school saloon to me. In the West, the first building they would build when they were settling a town was a saloon. And there's a reason for that, because it's about community. It's not about profit. It's not about getting people drunk. Yeah, it's about a party. Everybody needs to have a party. You know, everybody needs to have a place to meet people when they're no longer in college or high school. You know, I mean, you got to have you need a social place. And if you can provide a social place that's cultural, kind, intelligent, supportive, creative, then you got something that people really notice and they flock to it. And that's the case here. We created a different bar, really, than what most bars are. We're not jabbing people for money. We're cheap. We're affordable. We're entertaining. We're, you know, great music all the time. Great videos. It's the way, to me, that things should be done. You know, and you got all these people that are moving from other places. I'm not from New York. I'm from San Francisco originally, but I've been here almost 20 years now. And you got these people that are coming from other places with money, and they're going, I'm going to open a bar. Open a bar. Everybody's opening bars everywhere, and they're all the same. It's the same bar. They look the same. They feel the same. The same things are going on every night in those places. It's not true here. You walk in here any night, you're going to get hit in the face with just power and energy and warmth and stuff right at the door. And you're going to go, what the hell's going on here? And then you go into the back room, and there's a whole nother scene happening. And then you can go down in the basement, and you find activists making signs. You go in the other side of the basement, and there's a band rehearsing. I mean, this place, when it fires on all cylinders, there's nothing like it. You know, and it's like a flower. You take a flower and it's blossoming beautifully, and you pull it up out of the ground, and you say, we're going to move it over here. And you dig another hole and jam it in there and throw some dirt on it, it'll be fine. These things are delicate and fragile. And if you just take any sort of community center, anything that's grown organically, which this is and anything good is, like the best neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Manhattan happened organically. They're not corporate-built structures. They're mom and pop, small-time businesses that are spending their lives developing these things. And that's what this is. So there's something special. And when you just try to, when you say, okay, we're just going to, you guys can just move. We're just going to take this plant, rip it up out of the ground, and put it over there. It'll be fine. That's not generally the case. Those flowers usually die. And I know we're not going to die. Whatever happens, we're not going to die. We're an idea. We're not an address. But nonetheless, they need to understand and start thinking about the ramifications of destroying community organizations.
What's your name?
Donald O'Finn.
Spell it?
DONALDO''Finn.